Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the digital marketing class. Please comment in the chat box with a smiley face or emoticon face, anything that you can use there. Can greet us as well there, just to illustrate that you are able to see my screen as well as that you can hear me very well. And we're gonna start with class. Thank you for that participation there. So we will be using Brightspace. So let's quickly log in there to my tutor Brightspace. I would also suggest that you also do the same if you are on PC or desktop, then you can go to Brightspace because we're gonna download some documents and the case study that we'll be working on today. So basically our today learning session is about a reflection or revision based on what we have covered, as well as doing a class activity, taking all assignment questions that you might have that is due in 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask those questions so that we can provide clarity. So on Brightspace, if we come to digital marketing page, and we're gonna start by looking under content. And under content, we're gonna start on the last slide that we used, which was chapter 6. So learning unit 5, chapter 6. And then we open PowerPoint slides there. So the slide that is displayed on the screen, it shows our product, which is basically what we need to provide at the end of this module. So basically, we need to provide a source stack planning framework. And looking into this framework, it consists of several stages or steps, starting from situation analysis, objectives, strategy, tactics, actions, and control. So far, we've covered 3 of those stages or those steps, which include situation analysis, objectives, and strategy. We still need to look into further under strategy. How do you articulate or how do you write the strategy? Remember, this was chapter 5 and chapter 6, which we discussed previous weeks. And then on social media and the 3 strategies. Social media, it's one strategy, website is another strategy, and the mobile marketing is another strategy, but you need to articulate it very well underneath. For example, do you provide analysis or do you provide suggestion underneath? We're still gonna look into further. This is part of your assignment 4 or your next assessment, but now we're just gonna focus on situation analysis and objectives, which is your assessment 3. That one is the next one that is due. So after this assessment, you're still gonna continue with the same project, looking into strategy, looking into tactics, looking into actions and control. So make sure that the case study that you are developing, it's a digital case study, meaning that there must be something that you can still use further for social marketing, for their website, for mobile marketing, and so on. We're still going to look into traffic building. We're going to cover that in your next assessment. Like I've indicated in this class, I just want us to focus strictly on your next assessment, which is assessment 3. So with the situation analysis, what basically means when you develop a digital marketing plan, the first thing you want to know where the organization is at the moment. So on chapter 2, where are we now? With the remix, we analyze. Basically here you find out what the company is currently doing. So we don't provide strategies or anything. We simply identify the gaps. What are they not doing? So situation analysis, we analyze the 8 Ps or the 8 marketing mix components that we have there, partnership being the 8th one. And we find out in terms of product, do they have convenience? So we will also look into those chapters quickly. So if we open Learning Unit 2, which was chapter 2, and this basically discussed our situation analysis in detail. So we're quickly gonna go through it. And what you see on the slide is that a company can say, conduct a digital marketing plan for them. So if we apply this to any company and we are conducting a digital marketing plan, the first thing we need to ask them. We can do this in a meeting with them, or we can conduct in-depth research where we analyze their products and so on. So we start with their product. For example, do they offer any interaction? Do they offer any engagement? What are their value proposition that they are proposing online in terms of the 6 C's there? And then we've got content as our first one. We analyze what type of content they are using. Is it interactive content? Is it user generated and so on? It's important when you do the analysis that you show the relationship or the alignment between the online tools as well as the marketing mix. So if you say content and you provide a practical example based on the case study, you must also indicate what type of content is that you are talking about. Because from time to time we pick up that you will talk about product, and another product you will say they have the content that is provided by the case study, and then you will reference or you will cite the practical example from the case study without indicating this. You are losing marks as you do that. So when you say content, indicate that is interactive content, is localized content. And if the case study talks about localized content in terms of Netflix as an example, whereby they talk about that there is locally produced series or dramas or things such as movies, and they provide example of those movies, like which Showmax, there was one about Kumba, which is a South African, so we see localized content there. But if we just wrote content and we put those practical example, it's still unclear. So make sure there is that alignment, which I tend to find that is missing quite a lot. So you make sure that you also analyze the others. So for example, if there is nothing about customization of the product or of the content on the website, for example, customers cannot personalize the messages, they cannot provide their own ideas, they cannot make their changes into the product that they want. Remember, customization relates to the final product that they get. So let's use a practical example here. Customization could work well nicely with things such as vehicles, motor vehicles, or cars, car industry. It also works well with something such as your gifting or your gift industry, flowers, your chocolates, birthday wishes, and so on. We see a lot of personalized messages in terms of the gift industry, whereby people write names on clothes, and names on products such as a cup, or it could be anything, and then the company produces that product, or it could be a card for a birthday, and then they can write a beautiful message and it's delivered by net florist. So there is customization between a product that we see there, and we also see it in the industry of products or of cars. And we're talking about, for example, if I can make some configuration, changing the sunroof, adding on a car before I buy it, the colors, the speed, and all those things. We see a lot of customization there. So when you analyze in the case study and you find out that they have 1 and 2, they are missing all these 3: convenience, there is no choice, there is nothing about cost reduction, or there is nothing about community and participation. We refer to that as a gap in digital marketing. So we've got a digital marketing gap, and we can use that gap when we come back to our next step, which is objectives. That in chapter 1, we've analyzed that there is a gap under product. So we have to achieve that gap by developing an objective, which means we suggest that the company should develop more products that have participation because there was no participation, or they should give customers more choice because they were only producing limited products. And when we develop that objective, it could relate to something such as we are serving our customers. Remember, this is about, we must analyze that gap and relate it to the specific objective. So if we have identified that they are not serving customers with all what I've just indicated, or with the product configurations or the choice, we see that there is a gap in terms of adding value to customers. All these things add value to consumers because this is about product quality, this is about consumers' needs, and so on. You will see that the more we do case studies, the more we do practical application for digital marketing, you tend to get an alignment between a marketing mix component and the 5S objective. So basically what it means is that these 8 Ps are related to specific objectives. And for example, it's not necessarily limited to a specific variable that they're related to, but we can find some similarities. For example, if we say marketing mix and we have this table, and here we've got objectives, chapter 1. You will see a relationship that the first one, product, anything that we identify under product as a gap there, which means the company is not doing currently, we can develop an objective for it. It will relate to another or a specific objective. If it comes to price, usually price is related to sell, because we can manipulate the price, for example, offering free trial so that people sign up, or we can give them promotions, or we can give them a limited offer, or it could be expensive. And then if it's expensive, it's also related to sell, that people are dropping out. They are not buying the product. You've got things such as place, which talks about at intermediary side. You'll remember the 3 categories for place, and we're also talking about is this transaction in terms of place, is this payment in terms of place. So it's important to differentiate between the two. So we talk about access there. We analyze how do people access the products, or how do they access the content at supplier side, at intermediary side, how do they make payment at supplier side, at intermediary side. So when you identify in the case study here, it's possible that you find that access is only on supplier side. For example, Net Florist, which previously did not have an app. I think they started having an app recently, but the time they did not have an app, they relied on people calling the company and then telling the company what they need and in terms of the delivery and the person they are gifting, the prices and so on. So it was more telephonic, and then they had the website for customization and to make it convenient to be available 24/7, but it did not have an app. So that during the digital marketing plan for Netflix, when they identify that there is a gap in terms of access, they can also use an intermediary site. They can also develop an app for their users. You will see that is also about adding value. It's also about selling, which means we are targeting people which are mobile, which are moving or on which are out of home. Then they can use the mobile app to order. And we also target those who are still at home. So the mobile site in digital marketing, the mobile app, the target market, it usually says the target market is people that are out of home, but there is literature that also talks about target market being people who are also at home using the mobile app, who want use the computer. It happens a lot. And in research, you can also hypothesize that some of you, even right now, maybe are using a smartphone to scream or to attend the online session instead of using a website or using a computer itself. And we also see the difference in terms of using a mobile site. Remember, a company site, it could also be mobile. That's what we saw on chapter 6. It could be a website. It could also be a movie site. So it's important to identify those gaps. So if you find a gap here, we can relate that gap and say they don't have an app. The company should develop an app, and that becomes our objectives as well. So access could work in terms of sizzle. It could work in terms of customer experience here, because it's always about experience, the place that you are at. We can talk about many practical examples regarding this. For example, let's use the one whereby I log in on the website and I use an app. The experience is totally different for any product, for any service that you can think about. Because on the app, you have more interactive tools, you have more engagement rather than on the website. And the screen also plays a huge role. For example, the size of the pictures, the quality of what you are viewing. The place is all about the experience that you are giving it to customers. So we can identify the gap there. But once again, like I've indicated, it's not limited to what I'm doing here, but there is more alignment, there is more relationship between these two variables. So by not limited, I simply indicate that we can identify that there is a gap that we find in a place in terms of that the company does not have a smartphone app, and that gap could be used to say, let's develop a smartphone app, but this is not about to sizzle. This is not about to give customer a brand experience. This is about serving the customers, meaning that our current customers now have more options. It could also be about sell. So it depends how you articulate it. So for example, if you make it about sell, you can say customers now are able to buy on the app using their Apple card or using their Google account. You can see that is some sort of trying to make more sales or make more money out of customers to make sure that you support or you accommodate their mixed buying modes. That's what it's talking about. So if you find that payment is only limited to the site, like I've indicated, you can pay on the website, but you cannot pay with the smartphone. You can use that information not about to season, but rather about to serve customers. It could also work about to sell to customers. So at some stage, you will need to think more about all these marketing mix elements. Think about all these online tools, the gaps that you identified, and then relate or align those online tools in and marketing mix into the objectives. So promotion is another example. Where does promotion relates to? So this one, gonna make it our first learning activity. So I want you to think practically in terms of promotion, and you're looking on those slides. When you think about promotion and you identify a gap, in other words, you identify that the company is using advertising and is using things such as interactive display ads, but it does not have sales promotions or it does not have direct mail. And you want to suggest that they do these things. They have something such as the loyalty schemes or online rewards on their website. Or you say they don't have a Facebook page, you want them to have a social media page. Basically, that promotion element, you've identified a gap, but this gap relates to what objective? So use the chat box and just write your answer. So learning activity 1, that's what we're gonna look into. Let's see if you can do an alignment there. So what you just need to indicate which objective does promotion relates to. So you just have to indicate that part in the chat box there. So I'm gonna make this a 2 minutes online activity. So it is now 0954, so we'll continue at 0956. So in the chat box, you just need to indicate for me promotion, whether it relates to sell, it relates to serving customers, it relates to speak, it relates to save, it relates to sizzling. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 55. You're left with 60 seconds for that participation. So indicate your answers in the chat box. All right. I see speak objective there, and I couldn't agree more. Promotion, it relates to speak objective. So if you identify anything under promotion as a gap when you conduct digital marketing situation analysis, we see that they can use all those elements that are discussed. It's always about speaking to customers. It also can also work in terms of selling as well. So speak and sell, they work together, but it relates more about speak because in this case, we use things such as our personal selling, our virtual stuff, our online chat. We use advertising such as our banner ad. For example, this could be about brand awareness if you're running a YouTube ad and that YouTube ad is just intermediating the music video. Customers will see a music ad. So we identify that the company has a gap. They can use that to create brand awareness, and that brand awareness is about speaking to consumers. It could also be about selling to consumers if you are targeting a specific number of people. For example, if we run pay per click search advert, it could also about to sell. So both to speak and sell, they relate together because sometimes we speak about brand awareness, sometimes we speak about our product offer. So you will understand that speak most of the time it relates to sell as well there. So if you continue with all the variables here, you'll see that you get the service mix. And then in the service mix, these are the elements such as people, your process, and physical evidence. And this, all of them, they relate to one objective, basically. And then this objective, it's about serving the customers. Remember, if we replace people with an online chat, if we replace people with the frequently asked questions, or we replace people, or we supplement, or we accommodate, actually, rather than using the word replace, because they'll still be there, for example, in an online chat, we're just trying to use digital marketing means to support them. So if we support them with an online chat, it's to help customers get information they need faster. So it's mostly about serving customers, and it is mostly encouraged to have many partners as possible in digital marketing, because these partners will help you to sizzle your brand experience. For example, partnership could be partnering with another company to provide customers with a simple sign-in process. You will see something such a website such as, let's say, TikTok. And if you look at their sign-in page, for example, here, if you say login, you can see all these sign-in options. Like I can sign in with my Twitter account, I can sign in with my Instagram, I can use a QR code on my mobile smartphone. All these things is not just about serving customers, it's about sizzling the brand to give customers a new experience about the brand, as well as to actually be different. Remember, sizzling is about also being unique. It's a unique brand experience, also unique to your competitors as well. So this is a simple process to sign in or to sign up for a website. Instead of completing all this information that I already have, my details, my name, my birthday, they're already on Facebook. Let there be partnership so that we provide a nice experience for customers. It could also be about gifts. For example, if an app, it allows you to gift another user, provide a gift in terms of, this could be like I'm sharing a gift for Uber Eats voucher, or I'm giving a gift for Uber rides to another person. All those things become part of the brand experience. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you must take note that we are not limited to these objectives whenever we identify a gap, but try and show alignment in your assignment, because this is what you're going to do in your assignment. You're going to identify all these gaps and say, okay, they are using this price strategy, but there is a gap that they can use other price strategy to. I need to see that when it comes to your objectives. So in your objectives, most of the time, what I tend to see is that as students, you develop objectives without showing the alignment of what you've done in your situation analysis. So please don't skip that step. Think thoroughly about what you are doing in your marketing mix element or your situation analysis there, because there must be an alignment between this step and this step, as well as this step continuing way forward. So for your assignment that you're gonna do, once you have developed the case study, once you have identified your situation analysis in your assignment, remember that is your section A, you develop a case study and then you do situation analysis in terms of your section B in the assignment. And in that situation analysis, every gap that you identify, use that gap to develop objectives. It does not make sense or it does not help if you develop an objective and it's already, there is no gap about it. For example, if you say the company should, let's say you're thinking about serve customers, you say in this case study, the company should have a frequently asked questions, or a company should have an online chat. If those things are already on their website, that's not an objective because it's already been done. You'll see about objective, where do we want to be, which means we are not there yet. So that relationship, we must see it a lot there. And the next part of our online class session today, it takes us to, it's gonna be a 30 minutes learning activity. It's gonna be a quizzes. So you will need to actually log into the quiz and read the case study and actually play the quiz for me to see whether you are doing good, you are able to conduct situation analysis, as well as if you understood the previous the previous chapters, because it also covers chapter 5 as well as chapter 6. So we've got one that is prepared, is going to be more like an assessment, so 30 minutes for that. And so we're going to divide it into 2 parts. The first thing is to download the case study. Download and read the case study. And then this case study that you need to download is learning activity 3. So for illustration purpose on Brightspace, learning activity 3 will be under learning unit 3. So you have to come under learning unit 3 there. You've got learning activity 3. You've got the case study bit or by. So you need to download that. You're gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes to read the case study. We read it as a novel to understand without any questions in mind. So let's quickly open the case study. So it's better to download it on your site and read it from your screen. So download and read the case study learning activity, so that will be bit or by. So we're gonna give this about 2 to 3 minutes. And once you've done with that, you're gonna log into quizzes. So that will be step 2. So I'm gonna quickly generate a game code for that and start the live game so that you can enter that game code and be ready to play a game while you are reading the case study. So it's not necessary now that you are reading the case study. We'll give time for you to read the case study. Right now you wanna log into quizzes. So to give you a nice experience of the quizzes website, we suggest that you use your smartphone in this case to play the game, and then you use the desktop or your laptop or your computer to continue with the online activity, which is the presentation and the Microsoft Team apps, because it will be showing a different screen. But if you are using one device, you can open separate tabs. It works nicely. For example, if you're using a smartphone, you can just go to your Google Chrome or your Explorer, not Explorer, sorry, your Internet Explorer, or any that you are any internet connected device that allows you to browse the internet, and you simply go to quizzes there. So I want it to be a live quiz, which means we're gonna play together at the same time. Every question here, it should be 1 minute or 60 seconds. So we're gonna copy these instructions and the game code. You wanna enter that game code 437. You use any nickname. At this stage, you've played quizzes quite a lot or many times. You should be familiar. We've also learned that you don't type www there. Okay, so we've got that learning activity there. So we're gonna paste it in the chat box because you might need it, this information. So let's quickly send. You should have it in the chat box there. So at this point in time, it's 9 minutes past 10. We're gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes time to read the case study. And then once you're done reading the case study, you follow those instructions, then we can start the online activity. So I'm just gonna be quiet, but on this side, you're more than welcome to ask any questions if you have, and I need you to concentrate, so hence I won't disturb you for about some time now. So let's read the case study first, then I will start the game later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably done reading the case study now. And I see some of you already joined the quizzes. I've got participant here, so about 4. So if you haven't joined the quiz yet, it's time to join the quiz as well and be ready for participation here. So follow those instructions that are on the chat box there. There is just one clarity that I need to provide. Please take into account, and I do apologize for the inconvenience here. So we are looking at the bid or buy case study. So the bid or buy case study, I got confused that it does not relate to the online activity quiz that we're gonna do. I wanted to clarify that download the bid or buy case study that you have here, and also download under welcome and introduction. Remember, for your assignment under welcome and introduction, you've got a digital marketing plan example there. So the digital marketing plan example, it shows you some sort of an examples of how to conduct a digital marketing plan, but all those answers are related to bid or buy. So the case study was for the bid or buy case study was for this digital marketing plan example. So we are using a different case study for the online learning activity that we are doing now. So sorry about that confusion. So you will have to, when you have this digital marketing plan example, to show you what you can use as your practical examples and the answers that you find in the case study and how you can articulate those answers. I have to indicate that in terms of objectives here, in terms of the marks, you'll see here on that digital marketing plan example, it's only 1 mark, but for your assessment is 5 marks, so you must include more. For example, if you're talking about affiliate program, at least talk more details about that affiliate program, how it's gonna look like. You can also provide pictures, because if this is an assignment, you can search for those pictures, you can develop those pictures and so on, because you are working towards 5 marks instead of 1 mark. So let's quickly share a case study that you'll be working on, because you don't have it here. The case study is about Jukes. So I'm gonna share it here on the chat box, so you'll have to download it on the chat box. So let's quickly in the chat box here, attach. So download it on the Microsoft Teams app. Let's see which one it is here. Should probably be this one. Quickly open it just to make sure. This is bit or buy, so we don't want that one. Not show max, sorry. It should be this one, class activity 7, okay? So I've sent it in the chat box. You should be able to download it in the chat box there, the case study. Which means now we must forget about bid or buy. So let's read about Jukes case study. So these instructions are wrong, but the quiz game is still correct and the code there. So it's just Jukes there. Download and read Jukes case study. Okay, so now it's not learning activity. So in this case, chat box, Microsoft Teams, that's where you download it. So I'm gonna repaste again those instructions. It's 20 past now, so we're gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes to read the case study, the correct case study that applies to the online learning activity. So I'm gonna keep quiet about 2 minutes. Please read that case study, Juke's case study, and we will continue with class in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, I see, Tiani, you say you can't download the case study. Okay, same here, Mkwena. Okay, so let's use other means to share that case study because it seems like there's a problem then. So let's quickly see what we can use as well. So I'm gonna send it to you via email. So let's upload it on Brightspace quickly. So here on Brightspace, I can quickly use this option for class list. So A1 is Pretoria campus, yeah, and it's everyone on Pretoria campus. So I'm just gonna quickly untick the lecturers there. So I'm assuming everyone is here. So you can quickly go to your emails. It should just drop in now as I'm sending that case study. So we want to attach that file. It's the one learning class activity 7. So in the chat box, please just comment or indicate if you are able to download the case study from your emails. I can click send now. Okay, we're gonna put that. So I did send an email with the case study. I'm also gonna upload it here. If you are struggling to go to your emails, for now I will put it under Learning Unit Activity 6. So I will quickly edit here as well. So it's the one written class activity 7. Just gonna make it visible. So at the moment it should be visible. So under chapter 6 or learning unit 5, you will see at the bottom that you've got you've got learning activity 5, then you've got class activity 7. So it's also there, you can download it there as well. So also on your emails, you have it just in case. So once you've downloaded the case study, please confirm for me if you have it in the chat box, and we can take about 3 minutes to read the case study so we can start with the learning activity or the quizzes. Thank you for those who indicated that problem. Okay, let's continue to read the case study. For those of who are joining us or you got lost, please download that case study in your emails or according to the chat box and read the case study. So we'll finish now in the next 2 minutes. All right, by now we should be done reading the case study. We understand the case study about Jukes, which is a website and an app that allows you to listen to music. So that case study also provides you with some of an example of the case study that you should develop, showing the digital marketing or the digital market in a South African context, and the only thing that is not shown on the case study that you should do is to provide references. So there should be a citation here, citation here, citation indicating this information came from this website or this came from this website, and then you provide a list of references. That's the only thing that is missing there. So the next step is to start the online quiz. So for those who haven't joined, you can join using the instructions there. There is the game code. So for those who have joined, I'm going to start it now. So you can continue answering the questions. It's about 1 minute. So you understand the case study now. So just read and then answer the best answer as possible. So I'm going to start the quiz. On my screen, I'll be showing the leaderboard screen. So as you answer, try and have a glance at the leaderboard if your answers or your name is going up or down here in the leaderboard screen. If you are playing with your smartphone, you will get the best experiences. So you will be able to see both screens at the same time. So I'm going to be a bit quiet so you can concentrate. However, I'm available this side. You can ask any questions by unmuting the mic. So we'll continue the game up until 11:05. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still playing, try and play it quickly. I need to end the game so we can see the report and see where you struggled with the questions. So I'm gonna be ending the game in the next 1 to 2 minutes. All right, we can continue with class. It's important for us to discuss and review the questions which give you problems and so on. So first of all, short accuracy there, we see more than 55%, which is good accuracy, or more than 50%. So let's quickly end the game so it can generate a full report for us. And let's look at the overall score. So congratulations to Tozi there, being number 1. And as well as the running participants, the run-up, LA Girl, Lee Mamsonto, which Mamsonto maintained the first position for quite a while, and Leo as well for the top 5 there. So congratulations on that. And let's now look into the questions that have a low accuracy. Question 5, you can see there's 6%. We'll need to review that question. As we move along, we'll see question 18 with 39%. So not too bad, but we can review. Question 27, as well as question 30, we've got 17%, so those are red flags. And question 38, 0%. Yeah, that one raises a question whether that question was actually correct or not. So we'll have to review all those questions. So let's start with the one where we see 6%, which is question 5. So if you look into that question, it should be, this is 4. Only one student managed to get it correct. It's not, so let's move down. Yeah, it's this one. 14 incorrect. So let's start, before we look into the memorandum, the correct answer, let's start by interpreting this. Analyze the marketing mix element remixed by Jukes in the following example. A user can share a song on the specified social media platforms given or watch an advert as a task to claim the free VIP subscription. So which of the elements of the 8 Ps? So people, price, place, partnership, and physical evidence. So let's open it up for a discussion. Please unmute the mic. Anyone who'd like to comment on this question and indicate which answer they chose and why you think that was the correct answer? Can just unmute the mic. So basically what we see from this question is that if you're on Juke's platform, is that I don't have an account there, so I was quickly gonna log in, and then you will see basically while the song is playing or the song that you search for, you can share that song on Facebook, for example, that I'm listening to Jay-Z or I'm listening to any artist. And by sharing that song on social media, by doing that, I'm advertising. You'll see I'm an affiliator for Jukes. In other words, I'm promoting Jukes on my social, on my friends list and so on. So that's why I will be rewarded to get a free VIP subscription for sharing that song. Or I can watch an advert on the platform. For example, it could be a 30 seconds advert. So this is one method for you to get a free VIP subscription on Jukes. So my hypothesis is that price should be the correct one because it has nothing to do with people for me or place. Maybe partnership, you could have selected that one in terms of the advertisers or the social media that it can be integrated to share that song. Probably some of you have chosen partnership. I would think that physical evidence. Remember, physical evidence, it should be come from the company. So it's if I'm sharing it with other users, it also plays a role in terms of the review or how I rate Jukes. It's a sort of word of mouth. So probably some of you chose partnership or physical evidence there, but the price, I think it was the correct answer. So if we quickly go here, it does indicate, yes, the price, the correct one. It relates to more how you can actually get the VIP subscription. You can, and if we go to the slides, why do we suggest or we say this is more of a price element? So if you quickly go to chapter 2 slides here, and you look under price, we've got different subscriptions that a company can use. So the subscription that we see in that practical example, we see ad-supported content, for example, where I'm watching a video, then I'm claiming a price for that product or for that VIP access. And then we also see whereby actually they said you can share that song or on your platform, so to get a free VIP access. So we see another online or approach or another online approach in the pricing methods of an online buying. So you will see this is about offering a range of purchase options. So we see another purchase option that they can use rather than using their cash or using their credit cards and so on. And going back to, it does not necessarily mean partnership or physical evidence is entirely incorrect. It will depend how you articulate that sentence. So you'll see with the quiz, it's difficult because you don't have a chance to actually articulate your answers. But if you took this statement and you articulated in terms of partnership and you indicated that advertisers as well as social media platforms such as YouTube to give that data integration, it will still be a correct answer. So it does not mean that it's entirely wrong. So let's quickly look at another question that showed us flames here. All these red flags. Question 25. But at least here is 7 correct answers. So I want the one where it's 0, 0. There was one about where there was 0 accuracy. Question 38. So this is another interesting question whereby none of you got it correct. So let's see what was the question. It was a checkbox. Select two practical examples of local navigation structures related to the Jukes website. Remember the difference between local navigation and global navigation. So if we quickly go to those slides, it will be chapter 6 where we discuss that part. So if you open chapter 6 and it's about the structure of the website, how they should be organized. It was towards the end of these slides. So it's whereby we talk about website design elements in the textbook is on page 341, how you can organize that. Global navigation, those are site-wide schemes. For example, in this small practical example here, you see products, services, about blog, contact, all those are global navigation. And then local navigation are detailed for specific areas. So all these ones, for example, under products, we've got the marine and it goes into detail, beacons. You've got the food section, you've got the clothes section, the sweaters and so on. All of them, they become our specific area. So the global navigation is the one that actually become in the main page. In our case of Brightspace, this is our global navigation that we see, and then this will become our local navigation. So looking into a question, it was saying select two local. So discover cannot be local because that was the global. In the case study, it's also indicated as a global navigation, if you read the case study as well. And my music is also not, my account is not, so hip hop and top chats should be in my hypothesis. Let's look at the answer here. Hip hop and top chats, yes, those are correct. You will see some of you managed to actually select one, but you selected the other one to be incorrect. So you'll see 6 players managed to say top chat should not, it should be a local navigation, which was correct, but you combine it with something such as maybe my music. I see a lot of players choose my music. That should not be a global navigation. But remember, we are following the case study once again here. So if we also quickly open the case study, you'll see here, they've already gave you the global navigations there. I think it's in the second paragraph or so. Yeah, discover, radio, my music. So that's why my music was also part. So it said the layout of the app is split into 4 sections. That's why we get my music to be a global navigation. So take that into account that you also have to follow it, the case study as well. Closing that. So basically, that brings us to the end of our today class session. And thank you for participating, and I hope it was fun. I also help you with some of the practical examples that you can use for your assignment in the next assessment as well, and as well as to learn in a fun way. So I hope quizzes is as fun as I think, as my hypothesis here that I have. So in conclusion, have a lovely weekend. Remember, just in the chat box, you can comment there with any emoticon face showing your mood or saying goodbyes. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. I will communicate with you using our other platforms. So goodbye. If you have any questions, I will still be here. You can unmute the mic and ask a question or clarify.